Hi guys, my name's Ali Kerr and I'm the founder of Heal.com and I'm the author of the Bulimia Help Method. And in this video I want to discuss just my story. I want to just share my personal story with you guys, my battle with bulimia. And within that there's anorexia and bulimia-orexia and there's binge eating. And I want to share, that, and I want to share my recovery from it. Because you can actually recover from this, despite what you may have heard. I know, like back in the day when I was embarking on my recovery, I get told a good few times that you cannot recover from it. It's always going to be with you, or you're always sort of in maintenance from it. And that's not true. You can recover from it. You can remove these unhealthy behaviours out of your life, and you can live a normal life free from it, and with making peace with food, and you can do it. So let's just discuss my story now. So taking it back, so I was about 12, 13 years old. I started to get a little bit kind of more obsessed with my body. My body was changing, as you do at that age. And, I kind of, girls in my class were talking about weight loss and stuff. Your year goes out a little bit. I found this old health barn book kicking about the house, and I was scanning through it. It had like weights and measurements and stuff like that, and eating healthy, and I was intrigued. So I started following some of the principles within that, like cutting out crisps and chocolate, drinking more water, and so and then measuring myself. And within like 6 weeks, whatever, I'd lost weight, and I kind of got addicted to that. I was intrigued and I was inspired, and I felt good within myself. Um, and it just kept going from there. So I started to cut back on more food groups. At that point I was just eating normally, but I just wasn't eating, more like all the crisps and chocolate like I would probably eat on top of all that. But then I started to sort of cut back in like all the other sort of food groups, like the normal food groups, like dinner and like lunch and stuff like that. And I was eating very, very little each day, and the weight was dropping off me. And at that point I was like also starting to feel absolutely horrendous. Like every time I stood up, I was getting all dizzy, and I started to become really introverted. I didn't want to socialize, and I just want to hide in my room and think about food. And yeah, it's all the effects of like starvation that was happening. So I continued, and then I do remember the first time that I purged via self-induced vomiting. I think I was made to sort of eat this big pasta dish, and I was frightened, and I ate it, and I had to get rid of it, and I made myself sick, and I thought, oh, that was handy. But I remember telling myself, no, I'm never going to go down that path. I'm not going to be bulimic. I'm not going to do that. But it slowly, sort of gradually started to creep into my life. And so it wasn't until I went to uni, and it was my first year at uni, when it started to get really out of control. So I remember like kind of planning these big binges. I'd go to the shop and buy loads of binge food, and I'd go into my room and just eat all this binge food, and I'd just be making myself sick in the student, shared student accommodation toilet. And guys, I blocked that, a good few times, and it was kind of embarrassing. That was my life, really horrible, horrible existence, and I couldn't stop. It wasn't enjoyable, maybe the first couple of weeks of like these big binges, like it's kind of exciting, but after a while, it really was not exciting and not enjoyable. And I wanted to stop, and I didn't know how to. And that's the most frightening thing, when you actually kind of tell yourself, like, I can't do it. How am I going to stop? I can't do this. I did try every morning. I was like, no, today's a new day. Not going to do this. And then I ended up, within a couple of hours later, binging and purging. So it's frightening, very, very frightening. So this just continued on, and I was very, very secretive about it. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. I met Richard, and my husband now, in my final year at uni, and I kept it from him for years and years. Eventually, I opened up to him about it, and he said he would help me. And at that point, I was actually really desperate, really desperate. I was actually close to death's door. I knew I could not live any longer. It became very, very dangerous because I wasn't eating hardly anything, and I was actually thrown up. I got to the point my weight was very, very low, and I got admitted to hospital with low potassium. I was very, very ill, so close to death's door. I knew I had to do something about it, or I was going to die. My digestive system was not working at all. I could hardly keep any food down. Even water was was squishing about, you know, it was awful. So I went to the doctor after a very particular, you know, bad binge purge, and I collapsed in the bathroom floor. That was it. I was like, I need to do something about this. So I went to the doctor the very next day, and the doctor says, I can't really, you know, do much. And give you antidepressants, and I can put you on a waiting list to see a psychiatrist. You know, that's going to be 6 to 9 months down the line. I thought, this is not good. No, I need help now. I just need you to put on the straitjacket and just put me into a mental institute. You know, really, that's what I was thinking. Didn't say that, but yeah, I needed help right there, right then, and I was scared. I was actually really genuinely frightened for my life. So I said to Vichy, and he's like, "Look, we'll help. We'll cure this. We'll get rid of this. You know, you'll be fine." So okay. Now in my head, I kind of told myself I'm going to have this forever. It's never going to go away. I could never imagine living life without being bulimic, without those urges of the binge being there. Could not imagine. I thought my brain pathways had severed, like the snapped. That must have what's happened. Must be something like that. You know, there was no other reason for it. Something as crazy as that. So anyway, so we did take matters into our own hands, and we decided to, you know, like it was, you know, like a couple of days after, like Richie's in the library and he's checking out every single book on bulimia, much to my embarrassment, up there, like librarians like beep, you know. So he's checking out all these books, and we're in the house and reading up all these books about bulimia. There's not one book that actually says this is how to recover. Tells you what it is, which we knew what it was, but it was like nothing on how to recover. You know, go see a counsellor, talk about your problems, all this, and I'm like, that's not going to help me at all. You know, I just knew that was not going to help, and that's why I never bothered to go down that path. So then, so then we came across a book by Rick Cosman, and it was If Not Dieting, Then What? And it was really eye-opening. You know, it was about the effects of dieting and how it causes binging, and how 97% of diets fail, and then they end up binging, and I was like, it's eye-opening. We're on the right path. We're onto something. And as we started following that path down, and we came to like the Ansel Keys study. You know, if you've not read about the Ansel Keys study, just type in Ansel Keys study, the semi-starvation study by Ansel Keys, and done on the war veterans. Is it 1940 something? Yeah. So just type in that. Go read about it. It's really, really fascinating. You know, go to the Bulimia Help method, bulimiahelp.org. We've got it up there. Type in bulimiahelp.org, Ansel Keys study. You'll find it. Really fascinating study. It shows the effects of these. You know, they were really like fit, healthy men, and how they ended up, you know, with the same effects of the ones who've got anorexia, even bulimia, you know. Anyway, I'm going to have a read of that. So we're on the right path, and I was like, oh, eye-opening stuff here. I know why I'm binging here. It's not because my brain's severed, or, you know, these connections have snapped, or because I've had, you know, my parents divorced, or my best friend died, or, you know, all this kind of stuff. That's not the reason. Yeah, that's all hardships and stuff I've been through, all personal stuff, but wasn't the reason why I was binging. The reason I was binging is because I wasn't nourishing my body. My body was in a sort of starvation mode, and it was trying to tell me something all this time. It was just basically trying to tell me something through biofeedback, and I wasn't listening to it. I was listening to my brain that said that I have to starve myself, that I have to follow these food rules, and that I can't have that, but I can have this, and I can't have that. So I knew that I had to start to nourish myself. And in order to do that, you have to sort of get some sort of structure on go. And that's where the structured eating comes in. You know, you develop a structure. You know, people like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and their snacks. I'm going to start doing that. Yeah, get the structure on go. Get the blood sugar level stabilized. You know, not leaving longer than three hours between the meals and snacks to help stabilize your blood sugar levels, so you're not getting these big powerful urges to binge, because you're more susceptible to them when your body's either under the set point weight or it's just out of balance. So we kept following down that path, and at this point I went traveling around Southeast Asia, and it was great for structured eating because we could eat out, and it was cheap and very nutritious, and and I believe like the Thai food really did help me recover. So yeah, a lot of challenges with recovery. It's not just as easy as that. I got relapses. There was challenges along the way. I've coached many people through their recovery, and I witnessed many different challenges as well. But what I can say is that the ones who embark on a structured meal plan, the ones who begin to nourish their body, who begin to question the dieting mentality and question, am I getting enough, macronutrients? Am I getting enough nutrition for my body? And they question that, and then they keep adapting and working on that area. They see massive improvements with their binge urges, and the actual desire to binge dramatically goes down. It dramatically decreases until it will go away. Of course, after you've been working on your sort of physical aspects of binging, you've then to work on any emotional and habitual aspects of binging as well. But believe me, it's so much easier to then work on that area after you've been nourishing your body. Your brain's actually so much more healthier to then work on stuff like that. Okay, well that's all I'm going to leave you at today, guys. Basically the video was just to share my story about my sort of battles with my eating disorder, and to share that with you guys that you can recover from it. I've been recovered for over 10 years now. Never looked back, and guys, you can recover. I want to just give you that hope today with this video, and the reassurance. Yeah, so have a lovely day, and yeah, check out my other videos to come.